Testing, 1, 2, 3. Maybe we're live. Trying things a little bit different. Today we're going to be going live and doing our Pokemon card market update that I had been doing. Normally in a live, or not live format, I had been doing it for an hour and then going back and editing everything for an hour. That just took too long. So we're trying something a little bit different. Gonna go live for about an hour tonight, go through the top best-selling TCG player as we always do, talk about the market. Again, it's been a little while since I've done this, so I'm personally interested to get into it and see what has changed. It's been a little while since I've done this, so we'll see what's changed, what was I right on, what was I wrong on. We'll kind of go through that and again, talk about what I'm doing. Spoiler alert for this year though, it's been a lot less sealed plays because everything's so expensive and a lot more graded plays. That might change now with PSA changing how much they're charging. 25 bucks is a lot more than 18. So we'll see if that sort of changes here. But starting off with the Ascendant Heroes ETBs, pre-sailing for 134. These come out this Friday. So keep an eye out locally if you're going out to any stores. Definitely keep an eye on this one because I think this set is probably better than Prismatic Evolutions. And Prismatic Evolutions is doing crazy things. So I think this will do just as well as that, because I think this is just a better set in general. Prismatic Evolutions obviously has evolutions and stuff, but this has a God Pack with potentially Pikachu, Dragonite, Mewtwo. Like, there's so much going on for this set. It's going to be doing crazy things, but I'm not paying $134 market price for this, but trying to find it, especially the release week. If you can find this at MSRP, it's obviously a no-brainer. Where would I pick this up at? Probably somewhere around 100, something like that. And the reason is because, again, I think it's very similar to Prismatic Evolutions, and that came down to 100 bucks. So I'd be looking to pick it up there if it gets down that low. But this set is crazy. A lot of good things in that. Phantasmal Flames at 300 bucks seems kind of crazy. Just seems expensive for what it is. Again, I know this Charizard is like a generational card, but it's easy to pull, and I think that is going to cause it to kind of lag the market a little bit. But long term, it'll do fine, but I'm not picking any more up at 300. I think I've got 5 or 6 boxes of this that I picked up at 200 to 220, so I'm going to be happy with those. I'm not picking any up at 300. I do anticipate them reprinting this and all of the sets from like Surging Sparks on within the next couple of years. Here within this year for sure, but then probably even into next year too. With that new printing facility, I could see them reprinting a lot of this Mega Evolution stuff. They can get it up fast enough, so... This set is great, don't get me wrong, but it's just a one-hit wonder. I'd rather buy the Charizard personally for my personal collection. Investment makes more sense to buy the sealed box, obviously, but that Charizard is just so good. I'd rather save my 300 bucks and put it towards that Charizard. Mega Charizard X EX Ultra Premium Collection. Try saying that 5 times fast. I do love this product. I think this is a great product. At 160, you know, it was better here at 140. Now it's all running all the way back up to 160. Obviously, this thing's great if you can find it in Costco's or whatever. But again, I don't like standing in line. I don't like having to fight people for this product. So I'm generally not doing that. The last ones I actually picked up of this were from a Walmart drop that I got at MSRP. So I have 5 of these boxes, I think, that I got at MSRP. Again, looking for more at MSRP if I can find them, obviously. That's just a no-brainer buy. Not buying any at 160. But if I didn't have any, then I would be buying them at 160. Because I do love this product. I think it's got 2 pretty good promo cards, but the money in this thing is really in the pack selection. This thing has a tremendous pack selection in there. Let's see if we can show what it is. But it's got 2 Surging Sparks, 4 Journey Together, 4 Destined Rivals, 4 Mega Evolutions, and 4 Phantasmal Flames. So awesome pack selection in this thing. And again, if you can sell the promos off for 30 or 40 bucks, you're getting all of these packs for like less than 10 bucks a pack for really, really good packs. So honestly, still love this product. If I didn't have any, I would buy more. Because I do have 5 of these at MSRP, I'm not jumping over myself to get more. But I do think this will be just like the Charizard UPC from Sword and Shield. However, I think those promo cards were even better than these promo cards. But the pack selection in this is probably better. Especially if you're opening it. Pack selection in this, you're going to get a lot more hits than you would opening the Charizard Sword and Shield UPC. But love this product overall. And it looks sweet too. Super good display piece if you're looking for something to display in your background. Mega Charizard X, again, this is my dream card, my chase card. I've pulled 2 SIRs from Phantasmal Flames. Unfortunately, neither one being the Mega Charizard XEX. This will probably be, again, I usually try to wait 6 months after a set releases before I'm buying these chase singles. So what I'll probably end up doing is we'll go to Collecticon in like May, and I'll probably set aside some of my budget to buy this at a Collecticon when I can see it in person, see if it's gradable. Obviously, what you'd try to do is buy a gradable copy. If you're into that, grade it, get a 10, and hold that. So really, that's probably what I'll end up doing and probably where I'll end up buying it. In general, I do think this card will keep coming down from this point. I think Team Rocket's Mewtwo did a sort of similar thing where it came out the gate, everyone thought it was going to go down, and then because of how short printed all this stuff is, it kind of spiked up from there. But I do anticipate going forward, this thing will probably come down a little bit. I can't say for sure where, I don't know if it's going to get down to the 200 bucks that all the other Charizards have got down to, but even if this thing got down to 300 or 400, I'd feel much better buying it there than at 600. Either way, depending on what price it is, I'm probably going to buy it no matter what come May. So that's kind of my time frame of this, is I'll be looking to pick this up then. I do love this card. I think it's probably a generational card. It might be the card of Mega Evolution era, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. Again, every Charizard that comes out seems to be better than the last, so of course this will be the best one until the next one. So love that card, but not chasing it here. Perfect Order booster box. Is this the first booster box we get that goes down to MSRP on release? Maybe. This thing is showing 197 and it comes out in March, I believe, March 27th or somewhere around there. So crazy to see that this thing is as low as it is, because the other ones before pre-release had gone crazy. So to see this thing at 196, I could see this thing keep coming down. Is this another Journey Together? Is this worse than Journey Together? I don't know. Zygarde's not great. It's got Clefable, which is It's got Mewtwo. Gen 1 Pokemon, but definitely not the most popular Gen 1 Pokemon. I don't even know. Oh, Mega Starmie. So again, another Gen 1 Pokemon. I don't think it's the best. People don't love the Mega Starmie. I think the Mega Starmie looks hilarious, and it's the best of these cards in the set, but Zygarde doesn't do anything for me. Meowth isn't a really good chase card, and then Clefable looks kind of weird. It looks like, what's it got going on here? What is this? What is this on its head? Is it trying to be a Hatterene? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Honestly, I missed the pre-order on this for Pokemon Center's website, so I don't have any perfect order, but honestly, I'm not itching to rip any of this. We'll see when it comes out, when we get to see more of the cards, but from what I've seen so far, this one might even be a skip from me. That's one thing I'm going to talk about and might do a video on, is really trying to hone in. I used to be a big proponent of diversifying and trying to get every box, but now looking back at my collection, there's just a lot of sets where I'm like, looking back in hindsight, it was pretty obvious that wasn't going to be the greatest set. So why would I waste my money buying Perfect Order at 200 bucks when I can buy, Prismatic Evolutions ETB or something like that? Maybe it's not the perfect comparison, but in my opinion, I'd rather have something else rather than Perfect Order. So I'm not trying to buy, and I don't have to have one of every booster box like I used to in the past. So we'll kind of see. For now, that's probably going to be a skip unless I can buy it. If it, again, at MSRP, I would definitely start taking a look, but I could see this thing coming down to MSRP, and that would be the first box in a while, which would be super interesting to see. But ripping shippers are still going to need it. People are still going to be ripping. The culture is still there that people are going to want to be ripping the newest set. So it should do fine, but it'll be interesting to watch that one for sure. And me personally, from an investment standpoint, not too excited to jump in on that, no matter what the price is, but definitely not at 200 bucks. These Pokemon Day collection boxes are really cool. I think the Pikachu is a pretty good Pokemon Day card to get, obviously. I think last year's was Ceruledge, and the years before that was Eevee, or I might have those backwards. But either way, this one's better than both of those, but way better than the Ceruledge, because Pikachu just obviously fan favorite Pokemon. 30th anniversary is going to do pretty well. I don't see this card doing anything too crazy, but a 30th anniversary promo that you're going to want to have in your collection, and it comes with pretty good packs. So you get Phantasmal Flames and 2 Mega Evolution, I think, or 2 Phantasmal Flames and 1 Mega Evolution, I'm not sure. Either way, for 10 bucks a pack for those good packs and a promo card, pretty good stuff here. So definitely, if you can find these in the wild, pick these up, but you could probably find some shops trying to liquidate these, and not a bad way to get some packs if you're looking to get packs, especially if you just sell that promo card off. Again, an easy way to just supplement your pack opening experience. Destined Rivals booster box, the King, at $560. It just absolutely crazy, man. I don't know. This thing, look at this chart. It looks like it's going to follow the same exact pattern, where it went up like crazy and then kind of stagnated for a little while, and then went up like crazy, and now we're in that little stagnation period. I can't tell you to buy this at $550 though. I just can't. And personally, I'm not either. It's just crazy. What's the 3 best cards right now to get for positive return? Short term, I'm going to say, we'll get to them, but I think Celebrations, like any Celebrations cards, the Charizard, the Umbreon, all of those are going to be really good, but I think 151 cards in general are going to do well too as we enter into rotation. I think those will do very well. So if I had to pick 3 cards, Celebrations Charizard, Celebrations Umbreon, and 151 Zapdos Charizard, take your pick. Any of the 151 special illustration rares I think will do very well. But going back to Destined Rivals real quick, again, I'm not buying these, and it's tough because, like, thinking back, like, in 5 years, is this going to be more than $550? Probably. And when I look back on Evolving Skies, I remember when I first got into the hobby, I was looking at Evolving Skies and the packs were, or the boxes were like $400. And at that time, you know, I hadn't spent more than $50 on anything Pokemon. Like, I hadn't bought a booster box or anything. I was like, $400 for that? That's crazy. I'm never spending that. And now here we are in the same position. So, like, Destined Rivals at $550. Is it going to be the next Evolving Skies? I don't know. It could be. But I'm doing the same thing I was doing with Evolving Skies, and I'm not touching this. And I could be wrong again. I've got 4 boxes of this at probably $200 to $250 that I bought on release. And if it runs from here and those go to $1,000, then I'll be happy with my 4 boxes. And I'll have to miss. But one thing in Pokemon, I don't like chasing FOMO, chasing hype, all those things. Same thing for the stock market. Just investing in general, I hate chasing. And that's exactly what I don't want to do here. If I chase on this thing and then all of a sudden they reprint this into next year and they're in vending machines everywhere, Pokemon Center's reprinting these, all of those things, and this thing comes down to $200, $300, $400, you know, I don't know how far down it would come, but it would have a sizable drop. And then I would look to pick some up. But I do love this set. I think it's a very iconic set. I think it's better than people are giving it credit for. I think it's, you know, people are trying to downplay it right now, saying it's not a good investment because the cards are mid. I don't think the cards are mid. I think the cards are very good, and this set is a generational set. Just at $550 for this new of a set, it just scares me. So I'm not touching this personally, and if I miss out, I miss out. So be it. But not going to chase and then lose my money that way. So it's very hard to lose in Pokemon, but I guess one of the ways you could is by chasing something. So I'm definitely not chasing. Prismatic Evolutions Booster Bundle. We'll talk about Prismatic Evolutions ETB and Booster Bundles. I think these are probably the best and safest plays right now. I think Prismatic Evolutions heading into this year is going to do very well. I mean, we've seen Pokemon Center try to reprint the absolute living crap out of this thing. They have tried their best, and they have reprinted this every way they can, and yet still, here it is at $150. And, you know, you'll look at this and say, yeah, well, Parrish, if you bought this one whole year ago, you're only up 7% on a market that's been going crazy. And so, yes, of course, buying this a year ago at $150 was bad. However, the ones that I bought a year ago, I was buying at MSRP, and that's where I'm at with Ascended Heroes. I'm not buying Ascended Heroes at $150 because I think in a year it might be $150 as well. So anything between now and then that I can get an MSRP, I'm obviously going to stack up as much as I can. But in the meantime, for $150, instead of buying Ascended Heroes, I'll buy Prismatic Evolutions just because it's older. And if you watch Rudy's most recent video, I don't think it was his most recent video, but one of his most recent videos was about buying older Pokemon just because it's already had time in the market. And that's exactly my point with this. And even Prismatic Evolutions isn't that old. He was mentioning buy Lost Origin for $150 instead of a Prismatic Evolutions ETB. I'm not sure about that because I just think Prismatic Evolutions is a better set, but I agree with his logic that Lost Origins is such an older set. It's already got so much time behind it that it makes sense to buy those boxes. So in my opinion, I like either one. Like if you wanted to buy Lost Origin, you could, but the point is I'm buying both of these over anything brand new, like the newest Ascended Heroes set. But if I can find Ascended Heroes for the next year at market price, I'm going to be doing that. Prismatic Evolutions Booster Bundles, same thing. I think these are a very good pickup. If you don't want to buy ETBs, if they're a little bit too expensive, Booster Bundles are going to be fine. I think these are just, you know, a cheaper booster box, and that's going to do just fine, especially for these specialty sets that do super well. I went pretty heavy into 151, but again, I bought all these at MSRP. I don't think I bought a single Prismatic Evolution bundle or 151 bundle above MSRP. So again, if you're patient and you stick around for a year, if you're in the hobby for a long time, you're going to have your chance to find Ascended Heroes. It might be hard at first because it's going to be so crazy, but stick around, hang out in free Discords. You don't need paid Discords or anything like that. Hang out in the free Discords, learn when Walmart drop nights are, and you'll probably be able to pick some of this stuff up, especially if you live somewhere with a vending machine. I don't personally, but if you do, you're gonna have plenty of opportunities to pick some of these up. So that's what I would be doing on sets like Ascended Heroes. But if I didn't have any exposure to 151 or Prismatic, maybe I'd take a look at these booster bundles, just because 151 ETBs feel like a lot of money for what you get. I mean, you're looking at like 9 packs and then 1 promo card, but you're paying so much more than this, which is just 6 packs. So I like this probably better than the ETB at this point. But if you don't have anything 151 makes sense right now, because we're going to rotate out. I mean, 151 is part of the first block of Scarlet and Violet that's going to rotate out this year. So 151 up 28% in the last 3 months. I just think that's going to continue at least for the first 6 months while this thing rotates out, because come April, when it actually rotates out, you're going to see every single Pokemon YouTuber talking about this set rotating out, and all of that is going to drive some FOMO. I mean, like it or not, that's just how it works. So I don't think Pokemon's reprinting this set. They could because of how popular it is, but I just think they've got more stuff to worry about, that 151 probably isn't going to get reprinted. And with the FOMO of rotation, man, 151 could go crazy this year. Special shout out here to this Mega Charizard X card. I have one of these from the ETB or the UPC that I opened. However, I think this could be a pretty good play, and one that I want to be grading a lot of. You see it's down, 4% in the last month. It's still a relatively new card, but down 52% on the 3 month. That's exactly the time you want to be looking to pick up some of these cards. And this is exactly the kind of card that I want to be grading and running my grading plays with. Sort of like the Mew from the 151 UPC, and the Charizards from the original Charizard UPC. I think those Charizards are much better than this card, but I could see this card doing the exact same thing and running up to, 40, 50, 60 bucks when this thing rotates out. So this is definitely a card. First off, I want it in a 10 for my personal collection. So the way I do that is buy the card raw, grade it myself, try to get some 10s. Definitely going to be doing that for sure. But I also want some to sell into this market. So this, like I said, I usually try to wait 6 months, and we haven't quite been there on this. But when you see a card down 52%, especially one as popular as Charizard, you know it's going to do really well. It feels like almost as no-brainer as it's going to. The problem with this card is I do think they could print the 151 or the Charizard UPC a lot this year. I know they've printed it a ton. They might be done with it, and that's kind of the risk. That's why I'm willing to take these risks, because they already have printed it so much. But they could continue to reprint it, and this could fall down to, like those other Charizard cards are like 10 bucks each. So this could come down to 10 bucks. There's no reason it can't, but I don't know. I feel pretty comfortable playing with it here at 30 bucks, down 50% off its high. So I'll probably start picking some of these up here recently, probably this month, and then just play the long game, keep picking them up all year. So Mega Evolution Enhanced Booster Box. I honestly like this box. I think this is a very deep set. I think the one thing that this box does not have going for it is a real big chase card. I think Lucario and Mewtwo, or no, Lucario and Venusaur. I was thinking of Lucario fighting Venusaur, which made me think of the Mewtwo and the Charizard fighting each other. But I just don't know that this box, this set in general, has that one huge chase going for it. And that's something that I think separates the Phantasmal Flames one from this, is that I'd probably rather have that. Even though this is a deeper set, I think chases go a long way. Look at Fusion Strike. I mean, the opening experience on that is terrible, but the chase cards being what they are is driving that to the second most expensive box in the era. So I think this box will do very well, especially enhanced versions, especially with that Bulbasaur box topper. I think that's a really cool addition. Obviously, Gen 1 Pokemon, it's going to do very well. And I do think Mega Evolution, as far as a base set goes, probably one of the best ever, if not the best ever. But, I mean, it's going to do very well. So if you don't have any, 235 feels fine for this box. Again, when you look around and what else you can get for 235 bucks, it feels fine. But will there be better opportunities later? Maybe, probably. I do think this will be reprinted. Again, everything from Surging Sparks on, really. They reprinted Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade pretty heavy last year. They were in the vending machines everywhere. Again, they're reprinting things a little bit different. They're kind of doing them in vending machines rather than reprinting booster boxes that send to LGSs, which totally changes things. That's a conversation for another day. It might be a reason to buy this now, because they're kind of reprinting booster boxes a little bit differently. And which is why I had been picking these up around the 200 to 225 mark for Mega Evolution, Phantasmal Flames, and Destined Rivals before that is where I really started picking these up and feeling comfortable above 200 just because that's where we were in the market. So I could see this thing coming down, but maybe 200 is that floor. And again, in 5 years, this thing will be probably higher than 235. You know, you can't guarantee anything, but feels pretty safe. But as far as money for this year goes, there's probably better plays, especially short term. With all we've got going with 30th anniversary and all the rotations, just probably better places to put your money. Destined Rivals booster bundles. We already talked about Destined Rivals, but again, if you can't afford a booster box, look, a booster bundle of $50 when a booster box is $550, man, that could make a lot of sense. I bought a sealed case of booster bundles from, I think, Hills Wholesale Gaming to try that out. I think it was like $1,200 for that, $60 per. So I'm down on that thing for sure, but it's a sealed case, so pretty cool. And I think, again, Destined Rivals is a very good set long term. So if you can't afford a booster box but still want some exposure to one of the best sets in the era, booster bundles are fine. However, booster bundles will probably take a much longer to appreciate because I think they're going to reprint those like crazy. Same thing here with Ascended Heroes. $70. Ascended Heroes is what it is. It's like $13 for the packs. They're great. If you want to flip them, there's probably plays you can flip these. Me personally, I would look to buy these at MSRP where I can, not look to buy them at $70. But if they come down to 45 or 50, maybe take a shot there. We've got to take a look at the Umbreon EX just because it's the king of the era, not lightly played. And it's down 10% over the 3 months. But it is up a little bit, especially when you look at it the month. 24% over $1,000 again for a raw card just seems crazy. In most recent sales, $1,385. Today? Was that today? Yeah, today it looks like. So crazy that this thing is up selling way above its market price. So I'm not sure if that's going on a little bit of a run here or if someone's trying to manipulate the price or what that is. But I'm not touching this. You know what I did do with this? I'll make a quick comment. This is actually my most recent submission. I bought this card in Japanese because I wanted the artwork on this card because I've got the Moonbreon and I want this card to go next to it. I think they will look so cool next to each other, but couldn't justify to myself spending $1,000 on this card. So what I did was I bought it in Japanese. It was like 250 or $300, trying to grade it, see what it gets. I think I graded it once and I got an 8. So I cracked it out, resubmit it. You know, PSA, please submit again. So we'll see what we get with that. But that's kind of my way. Even as a kid, I had some Japanese cards somehow. So my collection's always been a little bit of a mix of English and Japanese. And that's totally fine with me. I mean, you know, I've been to Japan once. Pokemon cards are obviously from Japan first. And if I'm not playing the game with them, a lot of the cards I just put in a binder or, you know, grade and display. Then it doesn't matter to me if they're in English or Japanese. So that's one way I do it. If I can't afford the card in English, happy to get it in Japanese and appreciate the art that way because it still looks cool. And in fact, the Japanese texture is so much cooler on these cards. Evolving Skies booster box, the king, my greatest regret, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to have some of that. When you look at the 3-month chart, it is totally flat. 6 months, flat also. Interesting to see market price of $2,500 in most recent sales right there on that $2,500 mark. So this one kind of went all over the place because I thought during the last little boom, these had sales all the way up to like $2,800, but then it came all the way back down to almost $2,200 in the beginning of the year. So crazy swings on this thing, which makes sense with it being such a popular booster box. But $2,500 is a lot of money. You can buy a lot of things with that money. So my opinion, am I touching Evolving Skies? No. I've almost bought Evolving Skies like 4 different times over the past 4 years that I've been in the hobby. And each time I'm just like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. That's just a lot of money to have in one product. And especially when you're buying it here, you know, I've got a few, I can't say a few. I think I've got 1 to 2 items in my portfolio that's over $2,000 now, but I didn't pay $2,000 for those. You know, the most I paid was probably $1,000 for that Destined Rivals sealed case. And even that felt really expensive. So I don't really know that I want to be spending $2,500. I would just rather be spending $2,500 on product today. Like Prismatic Evolutions probably would be maybe a better use. But again, Sword and Shield's not getting reprinted, so it's probably safer, but I don't know. Just too expensive for me. Again, I just don't like chasing. Charizard here. This is one that, like I mentioned to Stamos, I do think 151 in general is going to do very, very well this year, especially into rotation here. And it's the exact same thing that I was mentioning with the sealed product. When you look at the 3 months, it's already up 13%. When you look at the 6 months, 13% too, but it's actually down off its high from $300. So another card that's gonna have some fluctuations for sure, but I think especially short term into 151, I just think this card is gonna do super well. So this card is actually pushing up. It's got a market price of 285, but most recent sales 295, 295, 293. So yeah, it's still running up there. Am I buying more of these? Yes, with the caveat of I bought most of these at 250 and I have a bunch out to grading right now. I think I have 3 or 4 of these out to grade at PSA, and actually one was one that I pulled myself. Finally, praise Arceus, we finally pulled this card. We can finally rest from 151. But I do think this card will do very well, and the way I'm playing it, now that I've got those 3 or 4 out to grading, if they come back at 10, I'll sell it off in a 10, buy this card again raw, and run the play again. Comes back at 9, I'll probably hold it at least until April. But because PSA is 3 to 4 months out, that's why I wanted to send so many of these up front, because I'm going to be waiting 4 months. So in 4 months, we're past the rotation mark. So I'll probably be holding on to them. Maybe in a 9, when they rotate, they'll be more expensive and I can sell them off and still make money. Anything you can make money with a 9 is doing pretty good. So this card is one that I think, as I mentioned, I think all 151 SIRs will do very well, but Charizard's just the king, so it's going to do very well. Prismatic Evolution SBC. I've been hearing rumors about this thing coming to Costco for like 2 years now. So we'll see if it actually does, or we'll see if it was just those premium Discords trying to sell their Discord, telling you to subscribe up so you don't miss it. It's coming, it's coming. And then here we are like 6 months later and it still isn't here. So if you can find this at Costco, no brainer. Am I buying it at 285? No. Is it the worst thing ever? No, because I do like Prismatic Evolutions in general. So if you don't have any of these, maybe. I bought mine from... Did I buy mine from GameStop? Yeah, I bought mine from GameStop for like 180 or something like that to show them I was happy with them selling product online again, because they took away selling Pokemon cards online for some reason. So when they brought it back, I was like, yeah, I'll use my coupons that I've got and buy this thing for a little bit cheaper. So that's how I got mine. I've got one. I'm not buying any more at 280, but if you can buy it at Costco or Sam's Club, wherever, it's a no-brainer. 151 Ultra Premium Collection. Just take a look. It's 151. Again, everything I say about 151 is going to be the same throughout. I think 151 is going to have a crazy year, especially a crazy 6 months. $666. Spooky. Up 15% in the last 3 months, and not surprised. I do think, and this is actually interesting because a lot of the stuff we're going to be taking a look at, when you look at the year chart, it had its high up here in the last really big boom of September, October-ish, and then it fell down, and a lot of them are back up near its all-time highs, but this is one that's actually cracked through it. So this is really good to see, but not surprised. So this is TCG Player. It's a great website to sell on if you've got excess singles, because it's super easy to list on. Their back end sucks for selling, but it's where a lot of people go. You know, it prices out Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Lorcana, all these things, One Piece. And if you just hear, you click Shop All English and then go to Best Selling, it shows you everything. And a lot of people use this website as a quick way to get market prices. So if you go to shows and all that stuff, a lot of people use eBay last solds, as you should. But for a lot of the smaller stuff, people just look at this market price and kind of go off that. So really good website if you haven't used it. Paldean Fates. If you don't have any of that, this Great Tusk EX Iron Treads box could make sense, because I think there is like 12 to 14 packs on this thing. 11 packs? I thought there was more. But even that, yeah, you should have been buying it at $100. But even now at 164, I like these things, and what I do with these is I break them down. Really, I like buying them at $15 or $10 a pack, so I'm not really touching this at 176. But if you don't have any Paldean Fates, I think it can make sense. I break down these big boxes. I don't mind storing loose packs. Again, if you sell on eBay and you've built up a brand on eBay that can be trusted, you can sell loose packs. So don't be scared about that even. The Team Rocket's Mewtwo. This is what I think the Charizard is going to look like. I think it had a big spike up, and now it's just going to keep running down for a little bit as more gets printed and as more comes out. But this one is even spiking a little bit. It was down to $349 at the beginning of February, and now market price all the way up to $436. Most recent sales, though, at $415, $416, and $405, which is a little bit down, but still. To see this card over $400 for such a new set is crazy. I didn't love this card until I pulled it, and it's amazing how that can change your opinion on a card, but the coloring on this thing, the texture, this card looks so sweet. So happy to have this card. I sold my copy. I pulled two, actually, and I sold my copy over here at like 370 when it first went down, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm the coolest Pokemon investor bro ever. I sold this thing and then it went down. Then it rocketed all the way up to like almost $600, and I'm like, oh, I suck sometimes. But came all the way right back down to 400 bucks, and that's where we're at now. So a lot of volatility on this card. I think in general, I would expect this card to hang around 400 bucks. But in general, I would expect it to trend down kind of as singles do, especially if I think Test and Rivals will get reprinted this year, which I think it will. Even if booster boxes don't get reprinted, you'll see them in collection boxes and things. And I would expect this card to drop as more of those packs work their way into the wild, work their way into rip and chips, and people keep buying them that way. Surging Sparks at 260. Feels like it's been in this 250 to 260 range for like years since it came out. And I think it makes sense at 250. I think I bought these, I don't know, somewhere. Again, they've been this 250 mark forever. I bought 2 more boxes at 250. I think it feels very good. I think this is probably the second or third best set of the era. And I think Paldea Evolved might get the nod just because, as Rudy said, it's already got some time behind it, whereas Surging Sparks doesn't have any time behind it. It's still relatively new. But I think this got reprinted like crazy in the vending machines and all that scene. People were finding them in vending machines everywhere. And that's what caused this initial drop down from 300 all the way to 220. So I think they're probably done reprinting this. But of course, they could reprint it because it's not in that first little window that's stuff rotating out. So it definitely could get reprinted, but it feels pretty safe at 250 for what it is. Really good box. Got Latios, Latias, Pikachu, beautiful Melodic. Just a lot of good cards in this set. So I think this will do very well. And it's got a Pikachu Chase to go with it, but people are going to compare it to Vivid Voltage. Maybe. I don't know. This set's obviously way better than Vivid Voltage, but when you look at comparisons, like every set of this era is better than the one behind it, except probably Evolving Skies, which, you know, can't be beat. So interesting to see that box, but I think moral of the story, 250 seems fine for that. Mega Charizard X at 385 from Phantasmal Flames feels expensive for a gold card, but because of rarity, it makes sense. Am I buying it here? No. Would I buy it? Again, I'm not really even, like I mentioned the other one, I do want the Phantasmal Flames Charizard, and I will buy that probably at the next convention I go to. Am I going to buy this? Probably not at 360 bucks. I could be patient on this, and if it came down to like 200, I would buy it. Will it get down to 200? Maybe not, because of how rare it is. These gold cards are just absolutely crazy rare, but I don't know. It just feels expensive for what it is. Again, people are going crazy about these gold cards, but Crown Zenith did it better. Crown Zenith gold cards will forever be the GOATs. They actually had really cool artwork. It wasn't just a full art card labeled on this gold card. It feels like the gold cards of old, where there was just a Pokemon on it with a gold texture on it, and I don't know. Card doesn't do it for me. Even as a Charizard fan, even as a big gold card fan, combine both of those, you'd think I'd be foaming over the mouth over this thing, but not for 360 bucks. There's just, again, better things that I will take for 360 bucks. What else we got on this page? Mega Gengar for $876. Crazy. That's a sweet card. I think it's very much like the Gengar VMAX card from Fusion Strike, but am I paying $876? No. Mew EX for $465. That one feels a little bit like it could be a play. And the only reason I say that is, again, because Paldea Fates is rotating out, and I think everything in that early rotation block is going to do very well. So I think this will do just fine. If you want to look for a quick flip, it could make sense to go for the Mew EX. Am I? No. But, again, talking about Collecticon in April, May. That's my days. If I'm looking to go in May, you know, it'll be after rotation, so knowing my luck, the card will be $600, $700 by then. But again, I would look to pick it up there where I can actually see it in person to see if I can get a gradable copy. But if it's already run by then, I might miss the boat. And again, if I miss it, I miss it. I should have bought this when it was 80 bucks. I missed it. I'm not going to chase, especially on singles. So do I want this card in my collection? Yes. But what's the famous phrase? You can buy one of everything, but you can't buy... Wait, you can buy one of anything, but you can't buy one of everything. So in Pokemon, despite the tagline being gotta catch them all, I'm not going to be able to. So you got to make some cuts somewhere. And would I rather have the Charizard from Phantasmal Flames or the Mew? I'll take the Charizard just because I'm a Charizard guy. 151 booster bundle display. We got to take a look at this just because I think it's my second most expensive item. So I look at this just because it's fun, and I'm happy that I have one of these. And this is exactly what I was talking about. In October, this was $1,500, dropped all the way down to $1,300, but now it's kind of breaking through that. $1,600 with most recent sales at $1,738, $1,769, $1,749. So pretty comfortably above $1,700 for this thing, which is stupid. Considering it was like 2 years ago, it might not even been 2 years ago, I bought these from GameStop, and they had a buy two, get one free deal going. So it was $30, you know, for $60 for 2 bundles, then you get one free. So you were essentially getting the bundles for like $200. I think I probably paid $250 for 10 bundles, and they shipped me a sealed display case. Praise GameStop for that. I know they're on everyone's naughty list now because they've for some reason changed the prices to market price, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, I guess I do know why, because they can make more money with it, but like, doesn't it sound so much better when people are bragging about GameStop sending them sealed displays on the cheap, rather than people talking about now buying sealed cases for like $1,600 where Ascended Heroes just came out at? So it's just crazy to me, the negative perception around GameStop, and it's really their own doing, but that's neither here nor there. My point is, GameStop used to be the GOAT, and they sent me one of these super cheap. So I'm into this thing crazy cheap, and I'll hold this thing for a long time because a sealed display of this is going to do very well. I've got enough bundles that I can sell off, just raw bundles, that I can keep this for a long time, and plan to for a long time. What else do we got? What else do we got? Team Rocket's Moltres. Wow, how is this thing $200? Who's buying this? Who's buying this? 178, 200. Yeah, this thing is crazy. 210 for this thing. Okay, I can see if you're buying this if you have like a sealed collection or something, because this thing looks absolutely amazing. However, for investment purposes, I'm not touching this thing. I would take the Charizard UPC 99 times out of 100 compared to this thing. I do think I can't even say that. I was gonna say the promo cards are better, but no, they're just rehashed. The Mewtwo card, or the Moltres card in here, the special illustration rare is sick. Don't get me wrong. But for $208, there's just much better things. It comes with 18 packs, same as the Charizard UPC. But I think there was like either 4 or 6 Twilight Masquerade. There was way too much Twilight Masquerade in this from when I opened it for me to want to buy into this. The Charizard UPC, just those packs clear this thing all day. And especially at 50 to 60 bucks cheaper, that seems like a no-brainer compared to this thing. I do not like this thing at all at $208. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Interesting to see that one. Also interesting to see the Mega Evolution booster box at $271 when the enhanced booster box was like $220 or something like that. That's crazy to me. I'm taking the enhanced all day. Even if you're gonna argue like, well, there's scarcity. These never came to the States. They're more rare, but I don't know. I want the box topper. Prismatic Evolution Pokemon Center ETB. I think these will do very well into this year. Another one that bounced off the all-time high. The all-time high was 400. So now we've got to get all the way back up there, and it really is not even close to that. I mean, it's at 350 most recent sales, so still a little bit of room to run here, and I think it will run eventually, just because I think Prismatic Evolutions is that good of a set. Destined Rivals Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box, sort of the same thing. I do, this is me huffing that copium, maybe hopium, whatever. I do think they will reprint that. They reprinted the Prismatic Evolution Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Boxes like 3 times. I have so many of these things. I have like 8 of those boxes. They only printed this once, and I missed that drop. I didn't even get this. I bought this right down here at 180. Yeah, I bought this at 180 when it was 180 for the longest time because I missed the drop. And I kept waiting for more because I'm like, they reprinted Prismatic Evolution 3 times. Surely they'll reprint this at least more than once because they know how popular Destined Rivals is, and this box is so sick. I mean, the color scheme on this thing looks amazing. The black on red looks probably better than this. This looks a little bit maybe too bright for what it is, considering Destined Rivals how menacing they're supposed to be. I like the black being the more dominant color scheme, but I do think this is a super good box. I'm not touching it at $400. I'm still holding out hope they reprint this. And maybe again, that's opium that it's never going to come, but we'll kind of see. This is a good one. Pokepad from Ascended Heroes. If you guys have been opening any Ascended Heroes, first off, you've probably been paying through the nose, but if you've been lucky enough to get this at MSRP, this one card sells for more than a pack at MSRP. So if you can find this at MSRP, open it up and sell off some of these, it totally makes sense. I sold one of these last night, actually. I went through and I was doing a little bit of research for this video, saw that this was worth, you know, $851 market price, with a low list being $958 from the most recent, or the most reputable seller. Absolutely crazy that one of these is selling for more than a whole pack. So go through your bulk if you've opened any Ascended Heroes and take a look for these Pokepads. They sell all day. I listed it literally last night. It sold overnight. Shipped it out this morning for like $8 plus one $2 shipping or something like that. So highly suggest, if you've opened any, keep an eye out for this Pal Pad. Probably sell it now before more Ascended Heroes comes out, because obviously this is going to come down a little bit, but I don't know, because they delayed the competitive scene a little bit, maybe this goes up as people realize that, hey, this card is actually sick and is really good and they haven't printed enough of them. So maybe it goes up, but I don't need to roll the dice. If I can sell a common trainer card for $8, I'm going to do that all day. So happy to have that, because again, that pays for one whole pack at retail, and you're not going to get rich by selling these, but as Danny says, it makes your collection dollars go a lot further when you're selling off the cards that are bulky, rather than selling them to a vendor that's going to do the same thing and just selling them off for like 2 cents per bulk card or whatever. Do a little bit of work up front, especially for $8. I mean, I can see the argument that it's not worth it for 50 cents or $1, but $8, man, I'm digging all day for $8. Charizard Sword and Shield Ultra Premium Collection. I think the Charizard UPC now, the Mega Charizard EX, will do the same thing this did. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go up 86% in 1 year, but I do think it'll go up to $500 eventually. And I don't think it'll take that long to do it. Maybe a little bit longer because they're printing more. However, the packs inside of the newest Charizard UPC are so good. Rip and shippers are going to be ripping into that to sell the packs, and then they can sell the promo cards off to pay for that pack. So, in my opinion, I think this box is sort of the poster child for what the other Charizard UPC is going to be doing. So, although I said I'm not picking any up at 150, I think it's one of the better buys that you can make right now for 150. That and Prismatic Evolutions side by side make a lot of sense if you're looking to spend 150, because I think this thing will just follow this path. So another one that kind of broke out past its all-time high too, which is crazy to see, knocking on the door of $500. I actually have 2 of these, and one was a surprise buy or find. I thought I only had 1 of these left, but I was lucky enough to have 2. So I'll probably be moving one of these off. Again, my whole goal this year is to be a net seller. I'll probably sell more than I buy, just because of where we're at in the market. Pay off a little bit of personal debt that we've got, just student loan stuff that we've been carrying forever. Low interest rate, so I don't need to pay it off, but it'll be nice to get the peace of mind from that. And if Pokemon cards can pay off that student loan debt, that's crazy. That's the dream, right? So I'm going to start doing that this year, try to take more money out than I've put in so that I have my entire collection cost free to me. So stuff like this that I paid $80 for 2 years ago, whenever it came out, that I can sell for $500 now, it just makes so much sense. So especially stuff like that that's super bulky and super hard to store. Umbreon VMAX, alternate art. I obviously love this card, but I'm biased because we pulled this. My wife actually pulled this a little bit after we got engaged. So this will be forever a card that I keep personally. Never going to sell it, but interesting to see it just doing a nosedive over the last 3 months. Down 22%, down to $1,680, which if you look at it over the past year, pretty flat, down 3%. But most recent sales all over the place, $1,949 and $2,000 for a grade 9. So definitely higher than market price. So we'll kind of see if that bounces up from here. But interesting to see that one hovering around $2,000 when its market price is only $1,600. So I'm definitely not buying that, but not selling the one that I have also. Mew EX, I still remember these being $5. So it's hard for me to buy these at 58, but maybe I sold off way too many of these when I was grading all these. Again, buying them for $50. No, buying them for $5, grading them in a 10 and selling them for like 50. Obviously, I shouldn't have been selling any of those, but it was a different time. Now the rock card alone is worth like 60, so crazy. But I should probably get back into playing with this card because it's sort of leveled off recently. It's definitely down off its highs. This is lightly played. Yeah, down 20% in the last 6 months. So One card that I'll probably get back into, and again, the way I play these is by buying copies. If they're gradable, then I obviously grade them, hope for 10s, sell off the 10s. If they're not gradable, I just stick them as a side in hopes they go up. But it's a lot scarier with a $50 card because, again, I remember this being $5. So is there any world where that doesn't come down? Or I don't know if that made sense, but could this come down to $5 again? Maybe. So that's kind of the scary part about those, and that's why I don't love to chase primarily. Blastoise EX, when did this thing get a market price over $100? And this is what I'm talking about, up 40% in the last 3 months. So my original comment to Stamos about 151 being the best cards for positive return might even be too late. If you watched my videos before, when I was doing these weekly, I was mentioning 151 and Celebrations being the play for this very reason, because we're heading into rotation. So I personally don't think we're too late. I still think these cards are very good, but definitely cards that I wanted as many as I could. Interesting to see sales under 100 now when market price is 103, but still right at $100, which is absolutely crazy for this card. I love this card. I think this card will do very well long term. So one that I definitely want more of, but for now I'm just running the graded plays on them. So we'll see how that goes. Page 4. Usually we go to page 10. We'll kind of see how we do it. See what people are thinking. I'll probably, again, go to page 10 and then stop. Ancient Mew for $88. Feels kind of crazy. Vintage is doing pretty well right now. Look at near mint. I guess it's flat on the 7 months. But if you look at it over the year, obviously up 72%. I mean, most things in Pokemon have been going crazy, but for this card to be sitting near its all-time high is pretty crazy. Almost $100 for this card that we all had as a kid, that we all got from the movies. I graded mine. I thought for sure it would get a 10. Somehow I got a 9. I don't even know, though, because, you know, we were kids. We played with these all the time. So to even have that in a 9, pretty special. That one's not going anywhere for me. Still love that card. City and Flames booster box at $329. Man, that is expensive. It feels crazy because, again, 1 year ago, 71%. This thing was $180. Now it's sitting at $339. And is that an all-time high? $334. So yeah, sitting right on its all-time high. And this set I'm so torn on because I'm a Charizard lover, and I loved this set when it first came out. I remember hunting for this. I was at a conference somewhere and was trying to find this a week early. Found an ATB a week early, opened and got absolutely smoked. But I love this set, and I loved it even back then. But now looking at it, again, the same thing I said earlier, there's just better Charizards. Every new set has a better Charizard in it. But again, going back to what Rudy said, this thing has so much time going for it already that does $342 make sense on this? Maybe. But like Rudy would say, maybe you should go back to Sword and Shield and buy a $300 booster box from Sword and Shield instead of this one. And I might agree with that because this Obsidian Flames Charizard feels a little underwhelming. People never liked the Terra gimmicks. They didn't like the hat on this thing. This card looks pretty cool, but I don't know if it's enough to carry the set. It's not a Phantasmal Flames. I like this better than a Phantasmal Flames just because it has some age to it. And it's part of that rotation block, which I think will do very well if you want to flip into it. However, like Rudy said, I think there just might be better plays in Sword and Shield, but I can see the argument. If you're going to argue that this thing's going out of rotation and you want to get in it now, I can't argue with that. Short term, it feels fine. Feels good. Again, anything in the first 4.5 Scarlet and Violet from 1 to 4.5 makes sense until we hit rotation, and then maybe people start taking profits, but even then, I don't think they will. Shout out in the chat if you want me to look at any of these cards, but typically singles on the first page. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff like this Team Magma's Groudon EX. I don't know who's buying that on TCG Player for $472. It's just, there's a lot of vintage on here, actually, which is a little bit surprising. And to my point, vintage is doing really well right now. Like Kabutops King or whatever, Kabuto King. A lot of weird stuff going on in vintage right now. A lot of people trying to make some weird collections to try to get some notoriety online, and it's working. So who's to knock them? Ethan's Ho-Oh, I just want to take a look at this because I love this card personally. I bought this card, graded it, got a 10, sold it off. And again, like all Destined Rivals, it's down a lot off its highs. So now is the time I want to be starting to look more of these. You saw my last video on Monday. I think I sent this in my most recent submission to PSA. So I still love this card. I love Ethan's Ho-Oh in general. I love this card specifically next to the Lugia. I think those two look so nice. The Lugia is so dark and brooding, and the Ethan's Ho-Oh is so bright and like hopeful. And that kind of goes back to like the second episode or first episode of the anime where Ash sees the Ho-Oh flying through the sky, and it just feels so hopeful. And I loved Ho-Oh in general. I played Gold as a kid, so Ho-Oh will forever be one of my favorites. I absolutely love this card. I do want it at a 10. I sold off my copy at a 10 because it feels overpriced right now, and I just think there's better opportunities in the future. So still running this play, still want one for my personal collection, but being patient on these. Special Delivery Charizard. Raise your hand if you remember buying these codes off eBay for like 20 to 30 bucks and then getting these for free from Pokemon Center. That's me. That's me raising my hand. All-time high for this thing, absolutely crazy. 160% on the year. $180 for this thing seems crazy. This is a fun card because, like I said, I got back into the hobby in 2022, 2021, somewhere in there, 2022. And this thing came out around that time. And it was one of those where I was new to the hobby. So I'm like, should I be spending $30 on a code that I have to go buy something on Pokemon Center to get this card? Does that make any sense at all? But in the back of my head, I was like, I know what the Special Delivery Pikachu and Bidoof did. Why wouldn't the Charizard do the same thing since it's such a popular Pokemon? So I ended up buying a few of these, and this card is special to me because my first ever PSA 10, I sent like 70 of my childhood cards, but I sent 10 in a separate tier that graded a little bit higher because I thought they would grade 10s, and I wanted them back a little bit faster. This was in that set of 10 cards, and this was the only one that got a 10 from that submission, which breaks my heart because there were some sweet childhood cards in there that I thought could get 10s. But I'm happy enough to get this in a 10. My first ever PSA 10 card that I graded myself. So definitely holding on to that one because I love it. This thing's been doing crazy things in PSA 10 as well. So I'm not buying anymore. But I also have one raw copy that I kept in my trade binder because I figured it would do well. So my question to you is, like, when do I move off a card like this? I'm into it for like 30 bucks. Like I said, I bought a code off eBay. Might not have been that much. It might have been like $5. I truly don't remember, but somewhere between $5 and $30 I paid for this thing, and now it's worth 180 raw. And the copy I have in my trade binder is not gradable, otherwise I would have graded it. But what do I do with a card like that? Obviously, I could use the $180 to the churn and burn crowd is going to say turn it into, you know, a 151 Zapdos and try to grade it and flip your money that way, and that's going to make you more money than this card will, sitting on it and investing in it. But I don't know, it's a cool card. So as long as it's going to get me 160% a year for not doing anything, that's pretty tough to beat. You know, you got to guarantee you're getting a 10 to beat that kind of return in a year. So I don't know. There's some cards that I just really like. I'm a Charizard guy, I'm a Kanto guy, but Charizard will always be my GOAT. So I love that card personally. But crazy to see it at 181. A new all-time high on that one. The Meowth from Phantasmal Flames. I love this card at under 20 bucks. I think this makes a lot of sense. This is one that I want to be buying, grading a lot of, especially because if it's not gradable, I'll just hold on to it because I think this card's going to go up, up, up in the future. I think in the short term, again, I mentioned all these new cards. I think with Phantasmal Flames being ripped more, printed more throughout the year, this could come down. I could see it come down to that $5 to $10 mark, maybe $8 to $10. And I would pick up a lot then because I love this card. There's so much nostalgia in it. Him being in Cerulean City, out front of the breeder's house, in the grass that you could actually find him in the game. This card, Chef's Kiss. Shout out to Pokemon Company. The artist that did this thing absolutely crushed this card, and it's one of the best. And I absolutely love this card. So I want a lot of these because I do think they'll do very well in the future. Still being a little bit patient on it, but I did send one off for grading. We'll see if that comes back at 10. But if it does, again, I'll probably sell it and buy more of these with it. So I do love that card. That's one of mine that will be on my to-buy list for this year going forward because I want to be grading a lot of those. That'll be on my list for sure. Celebrations. Are you too late? Over the past 3 months, it's up 30%. Are you too late? Maybe. You know, is it priced in? Maybe. I was telling you to buy these again if you were watching my videos, and I should have been doing these weekly. I really should have been just doing it live, but it was a lot to film an hour video and then have to edit an hour video, and that's like 2 hours of my week. That was a lot to do. So the way I'm going to change that is hopefully by going live and just doing it this way. My point is, this is one that I got right because I mentioned Celebrations is going to do great going into the 30th anniversary, and I think everyone knew it was. Anyone that had a Pokemon YouTube is kind of saying the same thing, and it makes sense. So, back to my original question, is it too late? I don't think so. 30th anniversary is officially on February 27th, so do I think on the 27th everything is going to go down and nosedive and everyone's going to take profits? Probably not. I think Pokemon is obviously going to milk 30th anniversary for the whole year. 25th anniversary went on for like a year and a half, obviously, while everything was in print. And even when I got back in 2022, I was finding a lot of Celebrations stuff in the wild. Those Charizard boxes were everywhere. I wasn't finding ETBs, but again, you could find packs in the wild. So my point is, I think Celebrations 25th anniversary is going to continue to do well, and I think there's room for this to be a short-term play. So again, when you're looking at something like Phantasmal Flames or Ascended Heroes or even Destined Rivals, and you're looking at these plays, I just think short term, something like a Celebrations or one of the first 4.5 sets make a lot more sense short term. Now, if you're Rudy and you're thinking long term, yeah, maybe go back and go even older and go Sword and Shield, because those are, again, just older and might do better long term than a Celebrations that's going to run off, and then I'm sure it's going to have some profit taking in the 30th anniversary and will probably drop. And I think long-term Celebrations isn't that great of a set just because of how small it is. It's super easy to complete, and sets like that don't typically do very great. But point being, all of that rambling to say, I think this still makes sense, and I think there's a lot of room for this throughout this year. So the problem with doing those flips is if you do it on eBay, obviously got to have fees and stuff like that. But if you're on a Facebook Marketplace or have your own website to sell on, I think there's a lot of room for this, and I think this will do very well this year. So I still think, even with 30th anniversary this year, I think it makes a lot of sense. Page 5 here, like I said, we're about halfway through, so I'll definitely speed run. We're definitely not halfway through. As I'm looking at this, I've been live for 56 minutes. Typically, I try to keep these to about an hour, so I'll probably end up just speed running. And most things I've already talked about. It's just like the Snorlax from 151. I mentioned I loved that when it was $10. Now it's $18, a little bit too expensive, but I still like it. When you look at the Charmander, $41 for a promo card. Is the Charmander better than the Snorlax? Yeah, sure. Is it 2 times better? Probably not. And the Snorlax comes from a $400 151 ETB. I don't know what Obsidian Flames ETBs are, but I don't think they're $400. I could be wrong, but people are going to need this Snorlax to complete their 151 Master Sets. I still think $18 makes sense, but I've been screaming at this card for like a year now. It was $10 forever. So I have a lot of these. I'm still grading a lot of these. The ones that weren't gradable, I just set aside. What point will I start selling them off? I don't know, 30, 40, 50? Like, there's no reason this is not a $50 promo card. When you look at other $50 promo cards, this one's not as good as the special illustration rares because it's just an art rare, but 25, 30 bucks, easily gets there. Zapdos 151, this is my favorite card from 151. I absolutely love this card. The color on this thing pops so much. The fact that all 3 legendary birds are on this, beautiful card. I think this is my favorite from 151. And again, I've harped on 151 enough. This video could easily be summarized into like a 5-minute video about how good Celebrations and 151 is going to do, the sealed products and the cards. But this card I just have to shout out because this card being $70, I think there's room to grow, especially when the Blastoise is 100. I think this is the second best card. It's my favorite card, but I think it'll always be second best behind the Charizard. But I love this card. Venusaur 89. See, I think the Zapdos, I think Venusaur is better than Blastoise, but I think Zapdos is better than Venusaur. So $90 there. Makes sense because it's a starter, but I still love the Zapdos. Charizard EX from Paldean Fates. I think this can make sense, I think. Yeah, this thing is still down off its 3-month high. When this thing ran up to 300, I was saying don't buy it. Now that it's down here at 200, 250, I think that makes a lot of sense. I got a few of these back in a 9, so I'm not selling those. I'll just hold on to those. But I'm still running this play as a 10 because this is my favorite card of the entire era. I love this card. I've been singing the praises on this card forever. I just think it looks so menacing. Obviously, it's a shiny Charizard, which makes it a little bit better even. So I absolutely love this card. $200 feels fine for this. I'll be looking for a lot of these. If they're still $200 when I go to Collecticon, I'll be looking for a lot of those. Charizard EX for $80 makes sense, especially when you look at the box that's $300. But I don't know. I'm still trying to buy these and grade them because I need one in a 10 for my personal collection. But Not really for investment. I just think there's better cards, but it is cheap. Cheap Charizard for what it is. 151 booster packs at 1836. Another pack and set of packs that I was screaming buy all last year. I was saying buy these Blooming Waters for 100 to 120 because you're getting the packs for 10 bucks. And then here they are at 18. So hopefully you did that. Hopefully you're stocked up like me. I've got a whole 5-row count box. It's not all filled with 151 booster packs, but it does have one full section. So probably 100 to 150 packs of 151, which is a lot for me. So, you know, I'm not buying huge pallets and pallets. I'm not rolling big bucks, but I was buying, you know, one of these Blooming Waters a week, and it kind of turns into that. So I was breaking these down because forget shipping these big boxes. That would be awful. So I just broke these down into loose packs, and you see what loose packs are doing. Very good. So 151 Elite Trainer box. I'm not going to spend a ton of time. Just mention that it is at an all-time high. $440, $490 sale, $462, $454. Crazy. I've got 5 of these, and this is one of the things I would look to move off. Again, just because of how fast it's run up. I definitely want these in the future, but I've got 5. I can hold the other 4. Again, if you sell this for 500 bucks and you bought the other ones for 60, you just paid for all of those, and you can hold the rest for free. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do this year. Again, overarching, want to be a net seller, want to take more money out than I've put in, so that I have an entire collection for free, which would be sick. Charmander from 151 at $72. When did that happen? I'm telling you, 151. 151 is the set, boys and girls. 151 is the set. Pikachu Gray Felt Hat. The interesting part about 151 too is that like the chase card is only $200. You can look at something like Prismatic Evolutions and Ascended Heroes, where the chase card's like $800 to like $1,600. Just crazy. But 151 still has that much draw because the opening experience is so good. There's so much you can pull from that set that 151 is just going to do so well. Even without a big chase card, it's just going to do so well. Pikachu the Gray Felt Hat, down well off its highs, but holding at 500 bucks. With most recent sales, 649. 649, are these real? Yeah, is this real? Because that would be an all-time high, right at its all-time high. Is that real or someone manipulating something? Because that's kind of crazy. But not surprised, because if you've got this card and you see it in the collector app, it's been going pretty crazy, especially in a Gem Mint 10. I think I'm going to pull more out than I put in this year too. Smart. Honestly, you know, it's tough to say with Pokemon because it's like, in theory, everything's going to go up. But you got to take profits sometime at some point. And when the market's at all-time high, you know, could it go higher? Yes. But there's no wrong time. No one got hurt taking a profit. So I'm a big fan of that, and that's exactly what I'm doing this year. Mewtwo V-Star, Charizard V-Star. I love these cards together. I think Crown Zenith in general is a little bit undervalued right now too. I think, especially if you're trying to grade, Crown Zenith grades super easily. The downside of that is the Gem Mint 10s are a lot less than their counterparts, but I still love Crown Zenith in general. Brilliant Stars booster box at $570. That's crazy, but I love Brilliant Stars. I've been singing this praises. I think Brilliant Stars is like the 3rd best set, maybe. See, I'm not a huge fan of Fusion Strike, so in my opinion, it's Evolving Skies, Lost Origin, Brilliant Stars, and then Fusion Strike. The problem is Brilliant Stars, the trainer gallery and the opening experience is so good, but again, the chase card isn't there. It's just the Charizard, just an Arceus, so not as good as the Mew and the Gengar. I get that, but it's got not every single, it's got all the original evolutions in the first part of the trainer gallery, and then it's got Umbreon and Sylveon in the trainer gallery, both as V and V Max. The trainer gallery in this set goes crazy. So this thing makes a lot of sense. I was yelling to buy it when it was back here at like 400 bucks if you had the money for it. Love this set still. And again, if I have the choice between this and Destined Rivals, honestly, tough choice. But I think I'm taking Brilliant Stars because like Rudy said, it's older. It's got so much more going for it. Whereas I think Destined Rivals is a little bit, it's got just more room. It's got more room to fall with them reprinting it this year. So the trainer gallery sets are still underrated. I totally agree with that. Celebrations Charizard. My call that I've been calling for like 2 years. Shout out Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles for this play, because he's been shouting it out longer than I have for sure, but I've been running it for 2 years and it's been working great. But as I mentioned, Celebrations, I've talked about it enough. Started my stream with calling this card one of the best cards to buy. And maybe it's too late now that it's run up 92%, but I was buying this thing all day at 80 bucks to 100 bucks. This has been my number one buy at every Collecticon I go to. This thing has been my number one grading play forever. If you watch my channel, every single grading submission I have has like 5 to 10 of these that I send. They're just so good cards because they grade so easily. I can buy these off eBay, and 80% of the time, they're sending me a gradable copy. So not all the time it's getting a 10. I'm not getting 80% gem and 10 rate on it, but most cards you buy from eBay, you're getting like a 50% gradable copy. You're getting them and you're like, oh, that's got white, and you got to set it aside. But with these Celebrations cards, because there's only 4 cards in the pack, they usually come pretty pristine. So awesome to see this card at an all-time high, because I've been calling this card as a sleeper card forever, and it's just good to see it getting its just desserts, essentially. I've got so many of these cards stacked away in either 9s or raw. I've been selling a lot of them into the strength because I've seen it waffle in between. It waffled between like 80 and 120 forever. And so when it ran up to like 150, I started selling off a lot of mine. But it's run up even more since then. So again, Pokemon continues to defy all expectations I have for it. It can't be stopped. It's crazy. Paldea Evolved for $420. I just think there's better sets. But again, it's in that first 4.5 sets that's rotating out, so I can see an argument for it. But in my opinion, I'm going with Rudy on that one. I'd rather buy something in Sword and Shield. But when you look at Brilliant Stars is already run. So Crown Zenith ETB 250 can make sense. Again, I just think Crown Zenith is a little bit undervalued. I think Crown Zenith is really good, and when you look at it compared to like 151, that's already $400. That's crazy for what you get too. Crazy. But then you look at it, 151 Squirrel, 67 bucks, 151 Pikachu, 50 bucks now. So ton of value in 151 too. So a lot of singles here, but you got to keep it moving, because we're already over an hour, which is absolutely crazy. Lugia V alternate art, 355. Love that card. But I remember, again, if you were here when this came out, these God packs were out, and it was the craziest thing ever. Every single pack from a sleeved hit of Silver Tempest from like Best Buy, you'd buy from Best Buy, every single pack would have a guaranteed hit. And that's what I pulled my Lugia V from, and I saw there's so many streamers pulling these things. That was such a wild time. Every pack was a hit. It was so much fun. The opening experience on that was absolutely crazy. So in my eyes, it's just tough to see this as a $355 card. But even with every pack being a hit, this thing was still pretty rare. So it makes sense. This card is just an iconic card for sure. You know, people will go back and forth on if they love the art or whatever, but still super iconic, especially next to the Ho-Oh. Love that card. Mew from Crown Zenith for 40 bucks. Seems expensive, but again, it's still, I don't know. It's Crown Zenith, it's Mew. These are tough to grade. I've been grading these, and actually the first half of the trainer gallery is pretty tough to grade. This and the Lapras, I've been trying to grade a lot of those, and pretty tough. So Articuno, another one I love from Journey Together. This is one of those cards that I want to be buying a lot of. Because Journey Together is still not in that early rotation block, I've been kind of being patient on it, but absolutely love this card. I think this will do very well long term. And at $15 to $20, that's the kind of sweet spot for cards that I like to grade. I think that'll do very well. Umbreon Gold Star, I mentioned earlier that I think this one would do very well. Again, just because of Celebrations, I think it's just an iconic card. So if you don't have any Celebrations, I mean, 77 bucks is a lot, but if you're looking at this versus the Charizard, you can just get more of these. So I love that card personally, especially with how popular Umbreon is. And then we'll take a look at this. Just the last item for a little bit of lore for the channel. This was the first ever big box that I bought for investment purposes back in 2022, 2023. Whenever I bought it, I paid $360 for it and thought that was absolutely crazy. So it stayed at $360 for like years and didn't do anything. And then finally in the last year, it's finally gone up 115%. So sometimes it takes your investments a little bit longer to jump, but just be patient with it and stick with it. And if you know a product is good, like this box, I absolutely love this box, you know, it'll do very well. So that's all I've got here. I get page 10. Just we'll go over it. Battle Styles, mid. That's the kind of stuff that I want to be selling off. Temporal Forces even, mid. Just another one of those mid boxes that I know it's old. Rudy would slap me for saying this thing is, that I want to sell this instead of buy this, but I don't know. It's just mid. Lost Origin 731. Feels pretty good. I think this should probably be the second best set of the era, to be honest. I think this is better than Fusion Strike. But again, Gengar is much more popular than Giratina, so I get it. But the Trainer Gallery in Lost Origin is cracked. With the Charizard, it's got a Charizard, got a Gengar, it's got a Pikachu, it's got a Snorlax. The Trainer Gallery in Lost Origin is insane. And it's got the Pikachu V and VMAX. Lost Origin should be number 2 in my opinion, easily. So I absolutely love that box. I'm not buying more, but I'm definitely holding the one that I do have. Gengar, Lost Origin Trainer Gallery for 37. This thing ran up like crazy. And I mentioned if you had some of these to sell off, but even now it's up 14% last 3 months. That's crazy. But yeah, still off its high. This thing was above 50 bucks for a little while, which seems crazy, but I think it's heading right back there. Again, these Trainer Galleries were easy to pull for sure, but a lot of people just sold them off because they were early half Trainer Galleries. Wasn't anything to them, so a lot of people sold them off. Eevee, another under $10 promo card that I love. Sleeping, popular Pokemon, what's not to love? I think this will follow the way of the Snorlax. Just give it time. So that's all I've got. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm holding Temporal Forces because I think it'll be scarce long term and get good, consistent gains. I do agree with that I think it being in where it's at, SV05, again, that's not part of the early rotation, which kind of scares me. But I do think from a printing standpoint, I think there will be other things they prioritize printing rather than Temporal Forces, which should do pretty well for the box long term because like you said, I think it'll be more scarce than some of the others just because of printing capacity. I think they're going to be printing other things rather than Temporal Forces, which makes it do very well. My only problem with Temporal Forces doesn't have a great chase card. You know, those Paradox Pokemon weren't really loved, so I don't know. They're pretty cool, but not as good of a chase long term as some of the other sets. So nothing wrong with it though. I do think it'll get pretty consistent gains. I think it'll just chug along, but I just think there's better things out there. I do talk all that talk versus what I'm walking. I do have a box of this. I'm not selling it right yet because I do want to wait on it, but it's one of those below there, low on my totem pole. But I still do like it. I like it better than Stellar Crown. Now that I'm looking at Stellar Crown. I like it a lot better than Stellar Crown. But that's all right. That's all I've got. I appreciate you guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Neon Wild Warrior, you're my champ. #1 chatter. I appreciate you tonight, man. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. I will try to do these every Wednesday. Like I said, I used to do them in long form, just video content, but I'm hoping to do them live, interact with you guys a little bit more, and then I can put it out for the people that want to watch it just on the back end. Same thing. I'll just be rambling and all that so they can listen to it. So I'm hoping that Ghastly, Gengar, and Morty will carry it long term, but I'm also partial because I get Deep in TCG just released. Yes, that's a good point too. That Ghastly and Gengar will definitely carry that set. I do think those are probably the best chase cards in the set. I graded both of those, the Ghastly and the Gengar, and sold those off. I do like those cards personally, especially the Ghastly. I love that card. It's a little bit expensive, but I do love those cards. Put those cards together with this Haunter, and you've got a sick lot that you can sell on eBay. That'd be cool to sell all those. So I do love that set. So thanks for the comment. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully I'll be back next Wednesday for another live video, but I'll also have a video on Friday with another GameStop Power Pack opening if you're into that. So be sure to check out that. But subscribe to the channel if you're into more Pokemon content. I do trying to post 3 videos a week, but 1 at the minimum. See what I do. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.